In the summer of 1934, in a port town called Yingkou in northeast China, hundreds of people stood in a reed marsh, looking at a skeleton. It was about 10 meters long, 33 feet. Its spine had 28 vertebrae, each one the size of a dinner plate, and on its skull, it had 2 horns. The local newspaper sent a reporter and a photographer. The photos ran on the front page. Railway companies added extra cars because people across the region were buying tickets just to come and see it. Police moved the bones to the docks and laid them out for public viewing. Nobody argued about what it was. Farmers, monks, policemen, the newspaper, they all used the same word: dragon. But the skeleton is not the strange part of this story. The strange part happened weeks earlier. Villagers said they had found the animal alive, beached in the mud, eyes closed, dying. And they didn't run. They organized a rescue. They built a shelter of reed mats to keep the sun off its body. They hauled buckets of river water and poured it over the animal for days, while monks from the local temple stood beside it and chanted. You don't do that for a monster. You do that for something you recognize. Then a storm came, the river rose, and the animal was gone. Weeks later, the smell led villagers to a carcass in the reeds. The skeleton went to a local school as a specimen. Then the war came, and somewhere between the bombs and the occupation, it vanished. No bones, no horns, just the photographs and a few hundred eyewitnesses who kept telling the story into the 1990s, as old men and women, still absolutely certain. One dragon skeleton in one newspaper would be easy to dismiss. The problem is the pattern around it, and the pattern is enormous. Start with the Chinese zodiac. If you have never met it, it works like star signs, but it runs on years instead of months. 12 animals take turns, 1 per year, and the year you were born decides your animal. Over 1 billion people still use it today. Here is the full list: rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, pig. 11 of those are ordinary animals, the kind a farmer saw every week of his life. And sitting in 5th place, not first like a god, not last like a joke, but 5th, filed between the rabbit and the snake, is a dragon, as if there were nothing to explain. Now go 3,000 years deeper. Around 1200 BC, about the time of Tutankhamun, the kings of China's Shang dynasty told the future in a very specific way. They took the shoulder blade of an ox, or the belly shell of a turtle, carved a question into it, and pressed a red-hot rod against the bone until it cracked. The pattern of the cracks was the answer. These are the oracle bones, the oldest Chinese writing that exists. And the writing is pictographic. The character for horse is a small drawing of a horse. Tiger has stripes. Pig has a round belly. These were the animals the king's court herded, hunted, and sacrificed, and there, carved among them, with the same casual confidence, is a character for dragon, a wide-mouthed head, a long coiling body. A pictographic writing system is a contract. A little drawing only works if the writer and the reader already agree on what the thing looks like. You cannot file a unicorn in the livestock records and expect the accounting to make sense. So somebody, 3,000 years ago, was looking at something. By the end of this video, I am going to show you what. Not a blurry photo. Not a legend. A real animal, one you have personally seen. Your ancestors saw it every single day, for 60 million years. First, the honest part. The Yingkou skeleton has almost certainly been solved. In 2004, Chinese researchers went back over the photographs and concluded it was most likely a baleen whale, stranded in the river mouth. The bones had been gathered and reassembled by villagers, people who had never seen a whale skeleton, but knew exactly what a dragon should look like. Lay out an unfamiliar spine in the shape you expect. Mistake 2 curved jawbones for horns, and a whale becomes a dragon. The eyewitnesses were not lying. They were assembling what they already believed. And one by one, most dragon sightings come apart the same way. The rivers of central China are home to a real animal called the Chinese alligator. 2 meters of armor and claws, with yellow eyes, and it bellows before thunderstorms. It sleeps underground all winter and crawls out in early spring, which is exactly when the old calendars say the dragon wakes. When Marco Polo crossed southern China in the 1280, he reported giant serpents with legs and jaws big enough to swallow a man whole. He was describing crocodiles. The sky sightings. To this day, the Chinese word for a waterspout, a tornado over water, translates as the dragon drinks water. A dark rope of cloud, coiling down out of a storm. People are still filming dragons in the clouds. Videos went viral out of Xi'an as recently as 2025. A whale, an alligator, and the weather. I will admit, at this point I thought the case was closed. Then I found the drugstore. For 2,000 years, Chinese pharmacies have sold a medicine called longu. Dragon bones. Real bones, dug out of the earth, huge and strange and old, ground into powder, and prescribed for everything from fevers to bad dreams. In 1899, the story goes, a scholar in Beijing named Wang Yiyang fell ill, and his prescription included dragon bones. Before the bones were ground up, he noticed something on one of them, rows of tiny carved symbols, older than any Chinese writing anyone had ever seen. He was looking at the oracle bones. The oldest words in China were discovered in a drugstore because of dragons. Scientists then did the obvious thing. They followed the dragon bone trade backwards, from pharmacy shelves to fossil dealers to the pits the bones came out of. One trail led to a hill outside Beijing that the locals had always called Dragon Bone Hill. In the 1920s, excavators dug into it and found skulls. Peking man, an extinct human ancestor, one of the most important fossil discoveries of the century. Because that is what dragon bones were all along. Mammoth teeth, extinct rhinos, ancient horses, sometimes dinosaurs. For thousands of years, farmers kept digging up monsters that had actually existed and folding them into the only monster they had a word for. Notice what keeps happening. Every time someone chases the fake miracle, they trip over a real one. Chase a dragon skeleton, find a whale. Chase dragon bones, find the oldest writing in China, and then a new human ancestor. But none of this answers the real question. Because China did not invent the dragon alone. Babylon had Tiamat, the scaled serpent mother of the gods. The Aztecs had the feathered serpent. India has the Naga. Medieval Europe put dragons on maps and sent knights to kill them. These cultures never met, and they all drew the same animal. Long body, scales, claws, and a mouth built to swallow you. 11 real animals, and one shared hallucination, on every continent. At some point, coincidence stops being an explanation. In 2000, an anthropologist named David E. Jones offered one. For most of primate history, we were small, we lived in trees, and 3 kinds of animal ate us. Snakes, big cats, and birds of prey. Vervet monkeys in Africa still carry the receipt. They have 3 distinct alarm calls, one for snake, one for eagle, one for leopard. 3 sounds, 3 ancient enemies, installed at birth. Now fuse those 3 shapes into a single body. The coiling trunk of a snake, the talons and wings of an eagle, the fanged face of a big cat. That is the dragon. Not an animal anyone ever saw. A composite sketch of everything that ever hunted us. A wanted poster, drawn from a memory 60 million years old, and printed in every human brain at birth. I promised to show you the dragon. You have already seen it. You flinched at it every time a rope moved in the grass. So, do dragons exist? Here is where I stand. As an animal, no. The skeleton was a whale. The bones were fossils. The sky dragon is weather. Every physical dragon, when you finally get close enough, turns into something else. But I don't think no is the honest end of the story, because the dragon is real. It is just not out there. It is a fossil preserved in your nervous system, the oldest family photograph we own, a portrait of everything that ate our ancestors, kept safe for 60 million years, and handed to you at birth. We didn't invent the dragon. We remembered it. And then we stepped right past that, the actual miracle, to build temples to the sketch. So here is what I want to know. The next time your body flinches at a shape in the grass before your mind even catches up, that was the dragon, reporting for duty. What else do you think is still in there?